Radio. Let's get it.
All right, and welcome back to the Be Positive Music Show here on Sirius XM Channel 154 and Holy Culture Radio. It's your host here, B Plus, and let me get you guys up to speed really quickly. What you heard in that last set, the last song you heard was Bands and Checks by Rick Harmony. The song before that was Happy by Wande. And then the song before that you heard was Slide Music 3. That was by Vert Mob. And again, Vert Mob is made up of Big Breeze, Scooty Wop, also God Fearing, and TJ Carroll. So shout out to Vert Mob with Slide Music 3. And then, like I said, the first song was Hit My Line. That's by Red Tips and YB. So now let's talk a little bit about this Reach Records 116 playlist, the 2022 playlist. So these playlists first got started back in 2018. The first one had about 9 songs on it, but each and every song was a Reach Records lineup member, and sometimes those songs had other artists from other labels featured on there, but it was primarily centered around Reach Records artists, and that playlist went over really well. Some of the popular songs off of that playlist, I remember one was Long Live the Champion by KB, just a really good song talking about some of the trials and tribulations that some of our brothers and sisters who are not from the U.S. And how they are a lot of times not treated well by believers and by just people in general. So very dope song, but also pointing people to Christ. So shout out to KB for that. Another song that was really popular on that playlist was Fight For Me. That song was by Gavi and Lecrae, and I believe that song got picked up by at least one movie. So very popular song, very fire music video, I remember, for that song as well. And then obviously the very big smashing hit off of that playlist was Coming In Hot. And it's hard to believe that it took about 2 or 3 years for that song to really pop, but when it popped, it really did. It was getting picked up by everybody, from Will Smith to even the Kardashians were talking about that song. So that was the hit off of that project. But you kind of fast forward to today, and Reach Records is doing a whole lot of good with these playlists. We're going to talk about that a little bit around halftime of the show. They're really just kind of putting on the next wave of dope Christian artists, and I just love it. I love what they're doing for our culture. So let's go ahead and get into one of my favorite songs off of this playlist. That song is by No Big Deal. The name of the song is No Way. And once again, this is the Be Positive Music Show. It's your host here, B Plus. We are live on Sirius XM Holy Culture Radio.
Let's get on, Ace. Okay, alright. Son of God, doing what the sun say. Minimalist with the feng shui. Heart guarded, I'm like Harden with the pump fake. We ain't going back and forth.
Yeah, good day. Thank you, come again. Have a nice day. Hey, T-Dot gon' keep it 1K.
What can I say?
I can relate. Hey, good afternoon, good day. What you mad for? Have a nice day. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. What could I say?
Culture.net.
All right, and welcome back to the Be Positive Music Show here on Holy Culture Radio. It's your host here, B Plus, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the first 30 minutes of today's show. So you know it's halftime, so it's time for our weekly pep talk. But before we get into our pep talk, let's talk about that last set, which was celebrating the 116 playlist that they dropped last week. The first song that I played was One Way by No Big Deal. The next song was Have a Nice Day. That was by Tadashi and 1K Few. The next song that I played was by George Rose and Limo Blaze. Nice vibes on that song. The name of that song was Circles. And then after that, I snuck in one of my B Plus blends a few months back. I blended in some Kanye West, some early Kanye West and some early The Truth. So that was a blend of All Falls Down and Roll Now. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. But let's go ahead and get into today's pep talk. In the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 48, that sounded like I was getting ready to preach, but I promise you I'm not going to preach. That particular verse has the line in there, to whom much is given, much is required. In the larger context of that story, it's a story, really it's a parable of Jesus talking about the faithful servant and the evil servant and them being prepared for his return. So that's the context of that particular line. But I do believe that there's a basic principle within that line that just talks about, hey, if you have a platform, if you have power, if you have influence, we should be in the business of using that platform, that power, that influence, or whatever you may have. You should be using that for God's glory. And that's what I really do feel like Reach Records and Lecrae and Ace, that's what they're doing right now. They're using the platform that they have to celebrate these up and coming artists. They actually started a really nice video series. I've only listened to the first one. Part 2 and 3 are probably out by the time you guys probably go check it out. And all these things are called is You Are the Movement. Actually, this whole playlist is called You Are the Movement, the 116 playlist 2022. So, and what they're doing is in these talks, they're bringing on up and coming artists like 350, like Big Breeze, like Portia Love, Miles Minnick. The list goes on, and they're bringing them on, and they're just talking about they're talking about the Lord, they're talking about ministry, and they're talking about the music business, and just how they're making their way, how they're carving their path. So I just want to send out a special kudos to the whole Reach Records family for what they're doing with this playlist and how they're using it to really give back to our culture. And speaking of that, I do want to feature or actually play this next song. It's by Miles Minnick. The name of the song is called Steppin'. It's featuring What Up RG as well. One of my favorite songs off of this playlist. Once again, this is the Be Positive Music Show here on SiriusXM Channel 154 and Holy Culture Radio. You guys keep it locked.
I can't help myself. I can't help myself. I can't help myself. I'm so hot, I may melt myself. Big steppin', 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 big steppin'.
Thank you, come again, have a nice day. Hey, T-Dot gon' keep it 1K.
What can I say?
I can relate. Hey, good afternoon, good day. What you mad for? Have a nice day. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. What could I say?
Well, the world.
What she go through won't crush her, no pressure. Sweeter than my grandmama's Kool-Aid. Tell them get the guy for it's too late, too late.
Haze me, you carry the world, yet you're still holding me.
Holy Culture Radio.
All right, we are back. This is the Be Positive Music Show. I am your host, B+. Let me give you a quick rundown of the last set that I just played. Once again, that set was celebrating and honoring what Reach Records is currently doing with their summer playlist that they just dropped last week. So the last set, starting off at the top, was Steppin' by Miles Minnick and What Up RG. The next song was Any Attack by Lecrae and also 1K Phew. And then the last song of that set was Love So Sweet by Chastity and Portia Love. And I think Portia Love has another hit on her hands. It feels like everything she touches nowadays is turning into a hit. So shout out to Portia Love for that. We are entering in the last 15 minutes of today's show. Time just always goes by so fast, but I really just want to take some time in today's show just to honor Reach Records and what they're doing. This is what is needed for our culture to continue to grow and continue to thrive. I've been a fan of Christian hip hop since the mid to late 90s, and I really don't ever believe that there was a proper handing of the baton from generation to generation, because we have generations in this Christian hip hop world. We have generations, and I don't think that there's ever really been a proper handing of the baton from generation to generation. And I really do feel like Reach Records is doing their best right now to promote that type of atmosphere where the baton can be passed. And it's really a blessing to me, and it's going to be a blessing to our culture. So let's go ahead and get ready to get into the last set for today. I want to get into a little bit of Christian R&B, some rhythm and praise type music. I came across this artist a while ago, and he reminds me of, you guys stick with me, he reminds me of Chris Brown and Michael Jackson. You're gonna hear it in this next song. You guys tell me if I'm tripping, but I really do feel like this artist, his name is Sire. I believe I'm pronouncing it right. It's S-I-R-E. But you guys check this out. You guys tell me what you think. This is the Be Positive Music Show. I am your host, B+. We are live on SiriusXM Holy Culture Radio. You guys keep it locked right here.
Where to see the stone? I feel like I've been blinded on a lonely
have to choose.